Today we're going to talk about the simple truth about vacuum sealing. Hello everybody, this is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why, 5 steps how, and 5 foods you need to be vacuum sealing now. I'm also going to answer some of your top questions, such as, why do you use the rings on your vacuum sealed items? How long can I store something? And what jar opener do you recommend? So I hope you stick around. We've got a lot to cover today. First off, if you are brand new to our channel, we welcome you and thanks for joining us. My husband Jim and I are homesteaders in West Virginia. And my, oh my, your channel must be growing when people start saying very rude, inappropriate things. And this week, one person came right out and said, I must be a millionaire to be able to afford this lifestyle. Oh, that makes me laugh. I have been teaching since the 1980s. I am still teaching. I work a second job at the farm store. And then I have 3 additional part-time sources of income. So no, I am not a millionaire. Instead, I'm just somebody who works very hard to achieve my goals. Let's start with the 5 reasons why I vacuum seal in jars. Number 1, it extends the best by date. So this package says it's best if used by April 2025. I automatically add 1 year to every product. So I now have April 15th, 2026. Can these items last longer than that? Absolutely. I've had rice store for 10 years, but why do I tell you just to add a year? Because there are too many variables involved. Did you use a fresh product that was just put on the shelf? Did you store it in a dark, cool place? And did you use a vacuum sealer that's going to form a strong seal? And since everybody's is different, there is no way I can tell you your rice is going to last for a decade or your flour is going to last for 5 years. It depends on your situation. Number 2, vacuum sealing keeps the bugs out. With 100% certainty, I can tell you if you vacuum seal your flour, you will not have bugs growing in it. Bugs need air to breathe, and they will not have it in a vacuum sealed jar. And just a little hint, do not freeze your flour before you vacuum seal it. It's going to create moisture, and you never want moisture in your dried items. Number 3, it saves money. Did you ever notice how many jars of cereal I have? I do eat a lot of cereal, but the real reason? I found it extremely inexpensive on sale. And since I knew I could vacuum seal it, I bought it all. I don't remember how many boxes of cereal it was, but it was a full shopping cart. And honestly, that saved me lots of money. Number 4, to prepare for food shortages. It doesn't take much to see what's going on in the grocery stores. My graham crackers are now $6.99 a box. And the size of containers has gotten much, much smaller. And with the price of groceries, we simply cannot buy as much as we used to. My youngest daughter and I were talking about that our meal planning now depends what food was on sale that week. Number 5 is food security. If you have ever gone hungry, you know the fear of not having food. Vacuum sealing food gives me the security I need to know I can feed my family. All right, now we know all the reasons why you might want to consider vacuum sealing in jars. Let's go over all the steps that it takes to vacuum seal. Step 1, you're going to fill your jar. Today I only have 1 container of oatmeal. You do not have to fill the jar. That's extremely important when you are using this in your kitchen. Every time you take some out, you simply reseal it. Step 2, you're going to put a lid on it. I like to wipe my hand across the rim, making sure there's no powder on top of it. Then I'm going to use a wide mouth lid and place it on top. Step 3 is to seal it, and you start by putting your jar sealer on top of your jar. Then plug in the port, turn on your vacuum sealer, and push accessory. My food saver shuts off automatically. This is the FM52 series. And then you just remove the top. Step 4 is to check that seal. Make sure if you pull on it with your fingertips or your hand, you're not going to get that lid off. Also, you're going to see a little indent in the center. I put all the information on the lid using a Sharpie. This is organic oatmeal. It is best by April 15, 2026. And as I said earlier, I add 1 year to the best by date. And I add the ring to the jar. The last step is to store it properly. You want all your vacuum sealed jars to be stored in complete dark in a climate controlled area that is cool. Now it's time to go over the 5 foods that you should be vacuum sealing and storing now. These are some of the top ones: pasta, rice, beans, oatmeal, and these are vegetables. Vegetables? Yes, vegetables. A lot of people see these on my shelf and they think these are potato chips. They are not. These are dehydrated sliced potatoes. And although this looks like canned corn, it is actually dried corn. I dehydrated this myself. I call these vegetables. You might call this a grain and a starch, but either way, I dehydrate corn, potatoes, peas, beans, onions, peppers. Anything that I can dry and store is going to add vitamins to your meals. Plus, this was about 6 packs of frozen corn that I'm able to fit into 1 quart jar. To use this, all I need to do is dump it into a soup or a stew or add it into a pan of boiling water and it'll reconstitute. All right, lastly, we are going to talk about some of the most common questions that people have. Many people have noticed that I only vacuum seal in wide mouth jars, and that is pretty much the truth. Everything that I seal, I use a wide mouth. The reasoning is fairly easy to follow. Wide mouth flats cost more than regular mouth flats. And when I use the wide mouth to vacuum seal, I can use these flats over and over again. If I use these to can, I'd only be able to use it one time and then throw it away. So typically I can with small mouth and I vacuum seal with wide mouth. And since some of my viewers are accusing me of not being able to seal regular jars with a vacuum sealer, I'm going to show you how to do it today. This is a regular mouth quart jar, and I am going to vacuum seal my dried corn. Just like before, I'm going to wipe the rim, make sure there's no crumbs on there, and place the lid on top. I have 2 sets of these jar sealers, so this one is the one I typically use. That one's for wide mouth. Today, I'm going to put the smaller one on top. Since I showed my big food saver, I'm going to use my rechargeable one to show that even the rechargeable will work on a small mouth. So you're just going to plug it on in. And like my large food saver, this one will shut off when all the air is removed. All you have to do is push vacuum. You're going to take it off the top, then remove the jar sealer. All right, let's check it. It's sunk in the middle. And when I pull on it, it's not coming off. So this jar is also sealed, even though it's a regular mouth. I'll actually be grinding this up to make some cornmeal. Another question that I am often asked is, why do you put the rings on your vacuum sealed jars? The main reason is if anything happens, like my jar got bumped or knocked down, if it didn't have this ring on it, first off, my food would spill all over the place. Second, I could end up with the seal completely popped. And lastly, you could get mice or insects. This is like insurance to me. It's holding it on there. If my jar gets banged, I know my food is still good in there. But here's another reason why I have at least 4 of these containers filled with rings. I would rather store them on my jars than have boxes and boxes of rings in the way. And the last question I am often asked is, what kind of jar lid remover do you use? And this is the main one right here. I found that it doesn't dent my lids as much when I use this one, but also it's easy to use. This is a little trick I learned that will not leave a dent at all on your lid, and that is to simply fold up a paper towel and put it on top when you open it. Whew, I shared a lot of information with you today. And honestly, if you ever have any questions, you're not sure what you're doing wrong, just put a comment in the comments below. Not only do I enjoy reading the comments and suggestions that you all make, but it just helps my channel to grow a little bit. So thank you so very much. For some reason, this has just been a stressful week for me. I have this heavy burden constantly on my shoulders about how can I be storing more food. And I know many of you are going through that as well. So keep in mind, you don't want to stock food out of fear. You want to stock food because you're prepared. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.